Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Adrian's Digital Basement 2. It's a super mini mail call, although that's not really true because this box is sitting on the floor, and as you can see, I'm sitting next to it, and it's nearly as tall as me. It's up on one end, and there are two boxes, not full size like this, but there's another one sitting on the floor that's also really big. So I'm trying to figure out how to open these. This one actually says box 1 of 2. So I guess I'm going to be opening this this big box first. Look at that, you get to see the floor for once in the basement. It's not something you normally see. Yes, there is actually carpet down here. It looks like we have a note, which I think we should take a look at first. Here is the Coleco Adam. I cannot tell everyone how long people have been asking me to do videos on the Coleco Adam. And, well, I just haven't had the opportunity to get one. And viewer Philip basically reached out and was like, hey, I got a Coleco Adam. And, well, you can tell by the huge box that I think this is in its original packing material. And if you bought a Coleco Adam back in the day, it came in this huge box. Imagine if you were a young child and you got one of these, say, for Christmas, and this was under the Christmas tree. You're like, what is this huge box? Like, a kid could fit inside at least this shipping box that this thing is in. So Philip says, here's the Coleco Adam we talked about. Not sure of the working status of the machine, but I will leave the repair in your capable hands. Thanks for all you do for the retro community. Sincerely, Philip. All right. Thank you, Philip. And yeah, lots of people have been asking about a Coleco Adam forever, as I just mentioned. So I think this is going to make some people happy. As for me, where am I going to put this stuff? Well, I'm not 100% sure yet. Okay, now I got to figure out how to get this thing out of here. Luckily, my recycling gets picked up in the next couple days, so I can recycle the box. But I'm pretty sure Philip spent a ton of effort making sure that this thing was packed and would get here safely, because the original packing material, as was mentioned in the letter, is very fragile. I cannot believe how unbelievably heavy this is. Coleco Industries, Amsterdam, New York, printed in the USA, 1983, Coleco Industries Incorporated. Okay, so the big outer carton has been moved over there, and this is the actual shipping container for the original Coleco, I suppose. I would have thought that there's another box that would have looked good on the shelf, like in a Sears or a retail store. So I'm wondering if this is an outer carton for the retail box, which might be inside of this. Gotta say, Philip, this was rock star packaging. This arrived in excellent condition. The inside box here was completely protected. I'm sure it looked exactly like this when it left your house. This end up towards me, so I'm gonna lower this down on the floor. Whoa! It's extremely heavy. I just gotta convey that. Priority 1 by FedEx. This writing here says, strip off tape, do not use knife to open. Well, I'm gonna use a knife, but I have the right tool for the job. It's this little thing here that a viewer sent in. It cuts through tape without cutting too deep. I'll lift this up a little bit just so we don't cut into whatever's inside. Oh, there it is. There it is. The Adam. Oh, nice. Very nice. So one flap is open, and this one still has a little tape on this side. There we go. Let's get this open. Move the other box out of the way a little bit. Look at that. It's a little sun bleached just from all the years, but look at the size of this. This would be the retail package for display, like in a retail store. And I guess if someone brought this home, this is the way it would have been. This blue with the silver paint and full color, which has faded a little bit. Let's flip this over. ColecoVision Family Computer System. The Coleco Adam. That's so cool. So question is, now how do I get this out of this box? It doesn't have like a pull handle kind of thing. It'd be nice if something were wrapped around it, you know, so you could lift it out. So I'm gonna tilt this up onto its side, I suppose, and try to slide it out. I can't believe how big this is. This is just outrageous, the packing box. Now the big reason why it's so big, of course, is this has a built-in printer, well, included printer, plus the computer's quite large, keyboard, there we go, keyboard, game controller, because this can play ColecoVision cartridges as far as I'm aware. Okay, there we have it. I gotta admit, it's pretty cool that this has a perfect form-fitting box. Maybe this was mail ordered back in the day, and that other box is what it came in. Well, it's upside down, all the electrons are gonna fall out, as Dave Jones says. Oh, it has a handle on the top. Look at that. So it has a carry handle. I'm not sure it's really advisable for me to use that at this point. I think stuff that's kind of falling out of the box. So that's gonna go back down on the ground there. And I'm gonna try to lift this off, but I'll make sure the handle goes around the box. Don't wanna tear it. This box is from 1983. Okay. Imagine walking into a retail store and you're like, oh yeah, I'll just grab this handle and move this super heavy box. Oh, that's so funny. Okay, well, on the outside, 80K RAM memory storage. Really? 80K of RAM. I think that's stretching the truth a little bit. The Adam provides more memory than any other home computer. In fact, it has two memory systems. The first is a powerful 80K RAM random access memory, which is expandable to 144K with the optional 64K memory module. Adam's second memory is a unique digital data drive, which offers the same advantage as a large mainframe computer tape drive. It uses our new advanced software digital data packs. Each digital pack holds up to 250 pages of double-spaced typewriter copy. So it's talking about the two tape drives that you can have optionally in this. You can have one or two. We don't know what this one has yet. They look like audio cassettes, but they're actually very high speed compared to a regular audio cassette, and they are random access, meaning they have like a file system and it can zoom back and forth to find files. In fact, I think there's like a directory that's stored kind of in the middle of the tape. I'm just going off the top of my head. And I think it can do that. So I don't know how much actual DRAM is in this computer, some amount, obviously, and it's probably expandable. Looks like there's pictures of chips here, so I'm assuming that means that the RAM itself is expandable. Now, sorry, I can't really show this better. I'm just using the bench camera here. Smart Writer letter quality printer. Don't know if that's a daisy wheel. You can use tractor feed paper, 9.5 inches wide, 120 words per minute. Includes 3 software programs, professional quality keyboard with 75 full travel keys. Over here, everything you need in one package. 80K RAM memory console with 1 digital data drive. So that's the tape drive right there. There would be one of them, I guess, was standard. Professional quality keyboard, letter quality printer. We already talked about that. 1 Pica 10 or Pica 10. I don't know if it's Pica or Pica. I think it's Pica. Daisy wheel printer element. Okay, so it's a daisy wheel printer. 1 multi-strike carbon ribbon. Okay. Some daisy wheel printers used like a carbon transfer kind of thing. They were very good quality, but you could only print once on those. Once it was used up, you couldn't reuse it. Built-in Smart Writer word processing system. Easy reference word processing instruction card. Manual. Buck Rogers by Sega game pack. It includes a cartridge game pack. Awesome. There's some of those cassettes. I don't know if the game pack is a cartridge actually, or if it's a cassette. It could be a cassette. Super game pack. Not sure. Comes with connection cables, coiled cord for keyboard, and a 3 to 2 prong adapter. 3 to 2 prong. So it's a grounded plug, but if you need to plug it into a 2-prong plug, they provide you with the defeat device for that. Great. TV computer switch box. A little bit of water has gotten on this or something at some point. But as Philip said, that is pretty fragile, so just gonna carefully tilt it up over there. Okay. All right, there's the computer. So Philip told me that he took everything out of the packaging and did clean this. It was pretty dirty, apparently. So this has been out of the packaging. This is not like it's never been used. Pack of manuals. We have, looks like a dust cover wrapped in plastic. There's our carbon multi-strike ribbon for the printer. Let's see, I don't know if I should know what to get out first. I think the printer might come out first. There's probably folks watching this who are Adam aficionados who know a lot more about unpacking one of these than me. So the funny thing about the Adam is they all came with the printer. But to save money, I guess, or for whatever reason, the power supply in the printer powers the main computer. So you can't use an Adam unless you have the printer or you get a modern power supply replacement, which, you know, simulates the printer. The printer itself's not necessary for operation of the computer. I'm not going to actually unpack the printer. I'm just going to put this here for a second here so we can take a look at the cable. So it does have a 3-prong plug, and then it looks like the connection to the computer is a 9-pin. And if I recall, when I was reading, the 9-pin here actually is what powers the computer. Yep, it's a DE9, although it's a very odd connector. It's like a clips-on maybe or something. Actually, no, maybe not. Anyways, that's what provides data connection between the computer and the printer, but also powers the entire computer. I mean, I wouldn't really use a 9-pin like that for power connection, but it's a switch mode power supply inside the printer. I think it's 5 volts minus 12 plus 12, something like that, that go to the main unit. Some voltages like that. But anyhow, having the printer is necessary, although that is something we're going to have to troubleshoot first. And that's obviously something I'm not going to be able to do in this video because there's way too much to kind of go into with this. But first things first, when I do get to troubleshooting, I'm going to need to make sure the printer is operating and we're getting the correct power rails out of this first before I then try to use the computer. But there's the printer. It says the ColecoVision family computer system on there. I'm sure this is OEM'd by someone else. I don't know if this printer's ever been used. There's still like bits of tape and stuff on there, like from original transport. Okay, the main unit is here. Now, I remember when I was a kid seeing these in stores. And the computer's lighter than the printer, that's for sure. But yeah, I remember kind of really being curious about these. Like I saw them in stores and I was like, what is this computer? It's so funny with these tape drives on the front, and yeah, it looked kind of different. I was used to my Apple II at the time. So let's get this out of the bag so we can at least take a look at it. I'll show this on the bench in a second. But we have one of those high-speed tape drives here, and this one's a blank, so you could add a second unit. Oh, that pops open, like so. Very cool. And looking at the bottom, just says Coleco, made in USA. And on the back of the unit, there are 2 RCA jacks. My assumption is one is probably RF. Yeah, it says TV and monitor, so we must have composite video. And then there's RF, but where's the audio come out of? Oh, and then there's a connector for aux video. Maybe RGB? Maybe the audio and the composite video is there? I don't know. And it looks like a channel switch. Over on this side, I assume these are ports for the controllers. Yeah, controller 1 and 2. And it looks like there's a little flap, maybe. I don't want to break that accidentally, for the cartridges or something. Oh, no, cartridge connectors, ports right here on the top. So I'm not sure what that side is. Expansion interface, I suppose, like sidecar type of thing. Yeah, it's a little dirty, this machine. I can see where Philip did clean it up a little bit, but around the buttons there, it's kind of grimy still. So this says computer, does it say reset? Yeah, I think that's reset. And that says cartridge reset. I guess I don't really get. And people will definitely mention this in the comment section, but is the console side of this, like the game console side of this, separate, which is why it has a separate reset switch from the computer? Looks like this is a flap you can open up, maybe to access RAM or expansion modules, things like that. We'll take a look at that in a second. All right, moving on. Just some packing foam. Okay, so, I'm pretty sure this is to hold one of the controllers and attach it to the keyboard. So like you can have, I think in the box on the artwork we saw, the keyboard was sitting there and this goes on the side and you can put your controller there. And here are the ColecoVision controllers. So up, down, left, right, plus diagonal. I don't think it's analog, I think it's digital, but you can push diagonally. Maybe it is analog, I'm not sure. And then it has buttons, a keypad, and quite sure, I thought you can slide in a little template for different games that will cover the buttons up and then, you know, define them as something else for that game, that's specific to that game. And I guess this somehow goes in there and clips in. I don't know, I don't want to break it. Plastics are probably fragile at this point. So, 2 controllers, both in pretty nice shape. Here are some of those keypads that I mentioned. Cool, okay, yeah, Real Sports Baseball. I'm not sure these are for this controller. It says Atari Inc. Or these are from like the Atari 7800, I think. Yeah, that's definitely not for this. It doesn't fit in there. Okay. All right, here's our chonky keyboard. Ooh, we got some yellowing. That is clearly not what the keys looked like originally. Now, I'm going to be looking for people to give me plenty of input in the comment section watching me unbox this thing to tell me how reliable are these keyboards. Is this foam and foil? Are these normal switches? That feels pretty nice, I gotta say. They have a nice like detent when you push them. I feel like these maybe could be actual like rubber dome under there. I mean, it's probably some kind of a contact point touching a PCB, like a pad touching a PCB, but I bet there's like little rubber domes for providing this tactile feedback. That feels quite nice. Looks like it connects up with a RJ11 type cord, which is right here. Oh yeah, that's been in the box a long time. You see that white stuff? That is the transference from that packing material, or the foam that is. Anyhow, this plugs in there, which there's obviously a matching connector on the computer, which I don't recall seeing, but it's on the side I didn't look at. Yeah, I think one of the sides of the computer, which is sitting right there, I didn't look at, and I'm sure that's where that keyboard connection is, probably the power connection. Okay, all that's left in the box are tapes at this point, or game packs, or whatever these are called, and they're kind of hard to get out. All right, yes. Super Game Pack, Buck Rogers. There's the game mentioned, that was the pack-in. And we'll take a look at that in a second. But yeah, it looks like an audio cassette, but it is a nicer feeling. And I think it's got some special provisions for the fact that it runs so fast through the tape drive. Looks like this tape is super basic. So basic is on the tape. And you notice how this is in the middle. I think that's because it was like used and that's where the directory structure is. Now I will mention that the Adam has the FujiNet available for it, so you don't necessarily need to use these tapes. You have access to a much faster loading mechanism with FujiNet, plus of course you can access everything there is, and who knows if these tapes work. I think this is a blank tape, high-speed digital data pack. We'll take a look at these in a sec on the bench camera properly. Yeah, these are blanks. Okay, 3 blanks. I don't think these are the original bags because they're Ziploc bags. So these are something that Philip has provided. Thank you very much for that again, Philip. Whew, I'm out of breath a little bit unpacking all of that. It's heavy moving these big boxes around and don't have a ton of space here in the basement, right? So you kind of got to juggle things, do a little Tetris action. Okay, as I mentioned, the computer is here on the bench. So yeah, this looks definitely like something to hold the controller. But you have to bend this part to get the controller in. I guess it does bend okay. I don't know, I'm afraid that's just gonna snap. Let's just very carefully bend it. Okay, there it is. So the controller is held in place, and there are little prongs, which I can assume go on the bottom of the keyboard. There they are. They're only on one side, so that connects up to the keyboard. So the keyboard, as I said, feels very nice, even though it's got a lot of yellowing on it. Yeah, that feels absolutely excellent. I would have been very happy to type on this. Backspace is up there. It does have an escape key, that's cool. The layout, kind of normal. Kind of normal. The arrow keys are awesome, really good layout, a lot better than most other 8-bit computers. Has a power LED on the keyboard. Insert, move, copy, you know, these are just some useful keys. I don't know, this keyboard, that is awesome feeling. Really, really good quality. And then for this controller, it looks like you push it in and then towards the back, there it is, it's locked into place. And then you have access to your games. Not sure if anyone would ever play their games with it latched into position here. I don't know what the point of this is, really. I'm curious if anyone had one of these back in the day. Did you use this thing? Did you keep it on the keyboard? And I do regret attaching this because I pushed it that way to latch it in, and now it doesn't really want to unlatch. And I'm really afraid of breaking things. Ah, no, there we go. Okay, no harm done. All right, so here's the top of the computer. Important notice, data packs should be stored away from all electrical appliances when not in use. In particular, do not store the data packs on the TV set, memory console, or Adam printer. Do not turn the power on and off with the data packs in the unit. Was that an actual problem where you shut the computer off and it would cause like a little bit of a, I don't know, a surge through the erase head, for instance, and erase that part of the tape? Was that actually an issue? And looking down into the tape system there, don't know if these typically need new belts. Pinch roller, pinch roller feels very rough. It's not sticky though. I didn't really see a capstan in there either. Let's get one of these tapes. Yeah, it doesn't use a capstan because there's no hole for it. It would be right there. It would be basically in this position. The pinch roller would push the tape against the capstan, and that's actually what would regulate the speed of the playback and rewind. But obviously this thing is using both motors, probably direct drive, to precisely control the movement of the tape. And I see this extra plastic with these black lines. I think that's all kind of a lubrication, not lubrication, but you know, it allows these to turn faster and have less wear inside the tape cartridge. As for using a standard audio cassette in one of these units, not too sure. I'm sure people can talk about if that's even possible or not. I assume there's some slight difference that would prevent you from putting a normal tape into the unit, but this does feel heavier and a little bit better quality. Coleco Industries Incorporated, 1983. Now on the cassette here, there's some stuff saved on here. Attendance, more games. Were these type-in programs? I wonder. Neat. Incidentally, these are not, you don't flip these over. It's really just one-sided. The head, if you notice when we look down at the head, it looks like it takes up the whole tape. And there it is. High-speed digital data pack, blank, pre-formatted. Yes, pre-formatted. That is right. You do have to have these formatted for this thing to use them. Stores approximately 250 typewritten pages. That's just so unhelpful. Like, how much is that actually? Gamma ferric oxide magnetic particles provide enhanced data recording capabilities, engineered for high speed. So there's another one of the blanks. I'm just curious if this one has stuff on it. Ah, looks like it does as well. Egypt paper, alum news, aluminum news. It said tape number 2 on that one. And we had 3 of these. This one here looks like it's unused or unwritten on it at least. Tape, yep, just needs a little bit of winding there, doesn't it? Just wind that up. Now, interesting is this one has a little bit more information about the tape, although maybe it was on the other ones too. Just it was just flipped inside out. Screws at 5 anchor positions hold shell halves together firmly. perfectly circular tape hub ensures error-free use of full tape storage capacity from start to finish. Concentric flanged and crowned idler wheels are seamless for best tracking. Non-magnetic, permanently lubricated stainless steel pins minimize friction. Lexan shell is 16 times stronger than the polystyrene shell used in ordinary cassette tapes. Anti-static ribbed polymer slip sheets reduce static electricity, providing for smooth winding of tape. Magnetic shield eliminates stray magnetic fields. Low debris pressure pad effectively reduces friction and drag. Better tape-to-head contact to assure optimum transfer of information. And a little elephant. Is that like a GE logo? Because Lexan thing? Anyways, what's it talking about with the shield? Oh, there is a shield there. Like a piece of metal. Definitely not there in a normal cassette. So the head would normally push on the tape, you know, onto that pad. That would just be plastic. So yeah, neat. Feels like this little piece of marking material maybe was in all these tapes and it just was thrown away on the ones that were used. Okay, so we have super basic. This is going to be another one of those same data packs. Notice how these are all left in the middle though. Like I said, I think this has something to do with the fact that the directory structure is in the middle of these tapes and the tape drive will zoom around to read that and locate the files on the tape. And there is our Buck Rogers game. Let's check a look at the cover art. Buck Rogers, the official Buck Rogers, Planet of Zoom, I think it says, by Sega. An expanded memory video game pack for use with the Adam, the ColecoVision family computer system. I remember watching a video on the Adam that Tom, who is one of the main people from the FujiNet project, made. And I remember Tom saying that I think that this game is available on cartridge as well, but the tape version's better. Like it has more going on because obviously this computer has some RAM in it more than the console has. And I think this allows for more storage. So there's extra stuff in here like cutscenes or whatnot. I can't remember the exact difference, but I recall, yeah, this game is available in both formats and the tape one is better. Now I'm pretty sure that the ColecoVision game console shares the same CPU and graphics capabilities as this computer. So they're both the same that way. And the ColecoVision was pretty fancy when it came to its graphics capability back in the day. Oh, we'll look at these in a second. So, you know, just kind of showed that that console was really ripe or capable of being a full computer, which is exactly what this is. I thought I saw that it's not too difficult to pop these tape drives out. Maybe you have to take the cover off first to do that though. I won't do any of that. It's probably all in the manual. Which, speaking of the manuals, we have a whole Ziploc filled with books. Okay, so this one says May 12th, 1984 on it. 6-month warranty, typical for back then. In-house service. This looks like it was printed on like print shop. What the heck? This was revised in January of 1988? So yeah, this must have been like a user group or something. In-house service, software, hardware, and accessory list. Buck Rogers, so $20 for the original game pack. Electronic flashcard maker, $20. Some other bits of software, all 20 bucks. From Digital Research, CPM 2.2 and assembler. Your link to expanding your Atom. Please specify data pack or disk. Interesting. So yeah, obviously there was a disk drive that you could get for this. Copy utilities was available on disk only. File manager, some productivity type apps. All four for $20. Strategic software, Paint Master, high resolution drawing and painting system for the Atom. Variable brush sizes, foreground and background colors. Graphics design package, Beyond Trek, Star Trek adventure game. Great sound effects, incredible graphics, includes Hall of Fame, high scores, totally machine code program, requires 64K or higher. Some more software, educational software, SAT English booster, algebra booster, geometry 1 and 2, games for the Atom, Sacrifice to the Spider Queen, a full-length text game that reads like a novel, 180 blocks of data, $20, DP only, data pack only. Demons and Dragons 1 and 2, Diablo, Black Gold, the stock market game, well, that's exciting. Fortune Wheel, Trivia Pack, Castle, Deathstone, all of these on data pack. CPM disk conversion utility. You must have CPM to be able to use this program. Converts IBM CPM 86 and TRS 80 CPM or Xena CPM to Atom format. Now available. So guess it let you read the discs from those systems? Interesting. Now, we're going to look at Wikipedia, but I'm pretty sure the system would fully discontinued by then. Oh, we have hardware expansion. 64K, may or may not be original Coleco, 50 bucks. 256K, 512K? Wow, 80 column card? Ours, so they made their own. Modems, daisy wheel, blank data packs, $4. An extra drive, 25 bucks. Interesting, it's the same price as the software, so that was like surplus stock, I guess. ColecoVision video game system, so the actual console, factory rebuilt or new, 75 bucks. Double-sided disk drive, ooh, cool, with software, 300 bucks. Driving controller turbo cartridge, keyboard complete with housing and cable, 25 bucks. Yeah, it's all surplus stuff. We have modems back in stock for 65 bucks. Nice. Double-sided disk drive, fully compatible with the Adam, with 320K storage. I thought that's what we saw on the other page, but yeah, there it is, $299, just has the specs. CPM patch, not only for a disk drive, but also 2 serial patches, a parallel patch and a formatter for double density disks. So this company, in-house service, was in Secaucus, New Jersey. I'm sure they're long gone, unfortunately. Don and Fred. Right, okay, guess that was their business, cool. As I said, I'm completely and 100% unfamiliar with everything to do with Adam, so I've never heard of this company before. Let's take a quick look at Wikipedia just to kind of see what's the deal with this machine. So it came out in October of '83 and was discontinued in January of '85. That's like a year and 3-4 months. That's not a long run. Okay, so it did come with 64K of DRAM. Wow. 16K of VRAM. So that's the 80K that it kept mentioning. So what it was talking about with RAM on the outside was actual RAM. I always question when the actual video RAM is combined with the system RAM as like part of the, 80K of RAM. I mean, no, not really. But I guess the reality is, yeah, that DRAM is inside the machine. Looks like there was a floppy drive, maybe the Coleco made, that was only 160K, a single-sided drive. So that double-sided one that was mentioned in this little flyer, that was an optional thing. It's a Z80 processor. I don't actually know if that's what's in the regular ColecoVision console. Yeah, okay, yeah, the ColecoVision has a Z80 as well. Oh, and then the graphics is just the TMS 9928, which is a variant of the 9918 used in like the TI 99.4A and MSX and like a million other machines. It kind of lists a whole bunch here. Okay, well, yeah, that's fully capable, and it's a decent video processor, and it has sprites and stuff. I'm not sure what the difference is of the TMS 9928 versus the 9918, but anyways. And then the usual SN76498 sound, whatever. This is like a sound chip used in many things as well. I think the TI 99 used that chip as well. Yep, looks like the same sound chip, same graphics, same everything as the game console, and that makes sense because the game console was pretty decently spec'd. And if you've seen things like MSX games, well, the ColecoVision is like an MSX basically, and really like a Nabu as well. The Nabu computer, which I showed on the channel a while ago, and of course the community has really run with that. It's very much like the ColecoVision as well, and I'm pretty sure a lot of ColecoVision stuff's been ported over to the Nabu, as has MSX stuff as well. Although the ColecoVision's presentation and concept were positively received, the Adam was heavily criticized upon launch for numerous hardware defects in early units. I remember hearing about this, with some potentially rendering the device unusable. The Adam also suffered from store availability issues, with Coleco having shipped only 95,000 units, rather than the goal of 500,000 by the end of '83. I mean, it came out in October, so yeah, just in a few months. They wanted to really get that shipped out so people could buy it for Christmas and stuff. The Adam was discontinued in January of '85. Coleco never recovered from the losses incurred, and the company discontinued ColecoVision shortly afterwards and finally declared itself bankrupt in 1988. Ouch. I think like one of the big deals with this computer is it's a full, game console. So you could buy all these games for it. So even when this computer was brand new and just coming out, you obviously had all these built-in ColecoVision games you could go buy and use right away. I'm just looking at the picture here. Notice how the controller has like a magnet, a ferrite thing on the cable, and these do not. So I'm wondering if this is an earlier unit. Although, didn't we have a date on the warranty card that says May 12, 1984? We do, which I'm assuming is when this unit is from. So it's kind of like a mid-run unit. Wonder when they got those on there. Was that like a later thing? Maybe at the very end? I find it kind of odd that this photo, by the way, has a blurred picture on it. I don't know what that's all about. There's the machine. I'm pretty sure that's like the built-in word processor. I think if you just turn this on with no software, it doesn't have basic built-in. That's on the tape that it comes with the data pack. it will boot right into a word processor. I remember playing around with that in store. They didn't have BASIC running, and I thought, this is weird, because I was, used to my VIC-20, and what did I have at the time I saw this? I would have had my Apple II probably, or been using the Apple II, and I thought, oh, it's so weird, it turns on with this word processor. Anyhow, there's quite a bit on this article, details, things like that. You could get extra 64K, 300 baud modem, a console emulator for the Atari 2600. I forgot about that. I think it was pretty much like an Atari 2600 entirely in a thing that plugged into the side. So it's not much of an emulator. Obviously, architecturally, the 2600 is a 6502, Atari custom graphics and sound chips and stuff like that. So there's nothing in here that can run that software whatsoever. It has to run it totally off board. And as is typical, by the way, the TMS 9918 and TMS 9928, I guess, it needs to have video memory. It needs to have its own dedicated memory. And that was one of the issues with the Texas Instruments TN99 line of computers, is the video memory. It had 16K of video memory. That was ostensibly all the memory that was available on the computer. There was a little bit of scratch memory that was high speed, but all the main RAM that you would use for your programs and stuff was in the video memory. And to talk to the video memory, you had to go through the graphics chip. It was super slow. And that's one of the reasons why the TI just is not a great computer in its non-expanded form. When you add an extra RAM onto the side as an expansion, that RAM can be accessed more quickly from the CPU's perspective. It's still not 16-bit, which a TI-99 is. It's 8-bit RAM, I think. I can't remember the exact details, but I just know that accessing the 16K of RAM, you can use that for programs because that's what the TI does, but it makes it real slow. Yeah, it's a neat computer. It's very similar to the MSX and the Nabu. And I think, the failures, well, we saw what Wikipedia said. It failed not because it was technically not a good computer. It just failed because they couldn't make them reliably and ship enough of them. And I guess so many people had failed units that the word was out. Oh, just don't buy that Adam. Just get, whatever, Commodore 64 instead or something else. And that was that. So it looks like we have a setup manual, and it's the revised edition. So yeah, it tells you where to plug, how to plug everything in. Looks like that's where the power connector goes. And to turn on the computer, you do turn on the printer. You don't turn on the computer itself. I noticed there was no video cable, no switch box. That's not a big deal. We can bypass that stuff. Remember, there's like this DIN jack. We'll have to look up that stuff when I'm going to hook this up. 7-pin DIN. If it's necessary to create your own DIN, use the following chart for proper wiring. Pin 1 to center a phono jack, pin 2 to shield. Turn next page for hooking up your computer. Wait, that's it? Wait, where's the rest of the pinout? That's hilarious. Connecting the Adam to a monitor requires use of the standard connector cable. The cable included with the Adam is plugged into the monitor port on the back of the console. A second cable with a 5-pin DIN connector on one end and a photon jack on the other end is also required. The DIN connector is plugged into the port named aux video on the back of the console, and the phono jack is plugged into the audio input jack. Oh, the audio. Oh, okay. That's so strange. So the RCA jack on the back label monitor is like composite video, but instead of adding another RCA jack for the audio, or just using the DIN for video and audio, they gave you 2 cables? That's weird and confusing. And yes, they have a section in the book on how to use the 3-prong to 2-prong adapter. So you can plug your printer with a grounded connector into a non-grounded plug. That's funny. And I guess that was just a common issue back then, is most people had old wiring in their houses with 2-prong plugs. And a lot of other computers would only use a 2-prong cable. But I mean, my Apple II Plus and my Apple IIc, they use 3-prong. So I guess, yeah, a lot of people use those adapters, and Coleco just threw it in the box. It didn't come with this one, but I'm sure it did originally. Here it's talking about the Expansion Module 3. Expansion Module 3 turns your ColecoVision into an exciting computer the whole family can use. What? I don't get it. So there's the ColecoVision. Is this like a Atom? Like it turns it into a Coleco Adam, basically? Well, wait, what? I don't get it, everyone. I don't understand what's happening here. Lift the Expansion Module interface door at the front of the ColecoVision game console. Make sure to... I thought the Adam is a ColecoVision. Why would you combine it together? oh, maybe there's another version of the Adam that doesn't have this side over here with the cartridge connector, and it's just the memory plus the data packs and the keyboard and stuff like that. And that's why you combine it with your console. Okay, looking at the book, there's the data drives, and this section looks a lot smaller than the one that's actually on this computer. So it's obviously an expansion interface that just adds all the capabilities of the Adam, like the tape drives and all the other expansion, the RAM and the ROMs and stuff like that, to your normal console. So you could save money by just buying that I/O portion of it with the keyboard and everything, and then combine it with your already, with the ColecoVision you already had. Oh, that's pretty nifty. See, that's like a great strategy because the TMS 9918 graphics chip plus the sound chip, the CPU, that stuff's already in the ColecoVision and the cartridge connector and the controllers and all that stuff. So yeah, why duplicate that? Why buy one of these with another game console when you already have one? I mean, it looked kind of unwieldy on your desk though. That's the one bad thing, I suppose. Anyhow, this goes on to just sort of talk about how to get the printer working, the word processor, how to use your ready-to-run programs, writing your own programs, that would be obviously using BASIC, and routine procedures. Pretty nice setup manual there, makes it all pretty self-explanatory. System checkout and troubleshooting guide. Wonder if they had to include this when they started having all those issues. Right, okay, so there is the full Coleco Adam, which is the one we have here that has the cartridge connector on the top, and there's that expansion version of it that has the game console on the back. I wonder why they called this expansion module number 3. I guess there were like 2 other expansion modules for the console, maybe like the Atari emulation one and something like that. The rest of this is just like standard troubleshooting stuff, okay. Smart Writer, that's the little word processor. Whoa, what is this? Adam checklist packed by? Look at this paper. So this would have been from the factory, inspected by JD. Yes. Oh, how did this get so degraded, I wonder? How interesting. Because the rest of these books are in really good shape. Coax cable. Does that say acoustic sheet? Buck Rogers game pack? Got 1 blank data pack. Smart Basic manuals, controller holder, 2 controllers. Not sure what that says. Printer, I suppose. Keyboard, some kind of storage unit. Neat. That's an interesting little artifact, isn't it? I'm just going to slide this into the setup manual there just for safekeeping. So that was in the Smart Writer, easy reference. We have 2 actually for some reason. I don't know why. There's our Super Game Pack manual. Oh, there's 2 of these as well. Okay, so maybe this was made up of 2 machines at some point. A free gift from you from Adam. What kind of free gift is this? Someone never send this away? What is this? It's like a poster? A valuable free gift for new owners. 1-year subscription, 4 issues to the Family Computing magazine. Of course, every company had to have their own magazine. I guess whoever had this computer never got the magazine. Maybe the computer was never worked reliably and they were so angry. So yeah, Coleco Industries, New Haven, Connecticut, no postage required. I almost thought this was maybe a poster of the Adam. That'd be kind of amusing, wouldn't it? Doesn't really make sense though, does it? Okay, and then there is the main basic manual for programming your Adam. I like it, they're using a nice Sony Trinitron TV there. And yep, typical basic manual. I don't know anything about this basic, like who made it. I wonder if this is similar to the MSX Basic, which means it's a Microsoft. Smart Basic Guide to Programming, portions copyright Coleco Industries, remainder copyright Robert J. Brady Company. Editor was Barbara Spear, technical consultants Mark Callahan and Michael DeMonchi. Oh, look at that. Lesson 2, Adam thinks. AI. Yeah, they were really ahead of the curve back in 1983. Now what's interesting is I didn't see anything in these manuals about popping this cover. I might have just missed that, but I thought it maybe be in the setup manual. I'm assuming if you bought one of the expansion modules that went inside the unit, it would tell you how to open this at that point. So I'm not going to force this. I will go do some reading on how to open this thing, or people will comment down in the comment section about on this video telling me how to open this thing safely without breaking anything. but this machine is in nice shape. I mean, it's obviously yellowed a little bit, but it's clean. Philip did a good job cleaning it, and it's pretty complete. Obviously, we're missing the 3 to 2 prong adapter. Oh, but look, I happen to have one sitting right here. There it is, 3 to 2 prong adapter. So yeah, for those in the rest of the world, you'll be horrified to know in North America we use these. And yeah, if you have a 3-prong plug, you just stick this in. Theoretically, you're supposed to attach this little tab, which I've folded over, onto a little screw. No one did that. No one did that. Anyways, this thing looks really complete. Plus we got 3 blank tapes instead of just the one that originally came with this computer. And you know what? I'm thinking that these are all the original bags. I thought this was maybe a dust cover. Maybe it is a dust cover. Let's open this up real quick. This is, oh yeah, these are the original bags, not a dust cover. Wow, this thing is complete. Awesome. Okay, so that is the Coleco Adam. I finally have a Coleco Adam. What I need to do now is get into that second box, box 2 of 2 that Philip sent, the one that shipping box is sitting on. We got to look at what's in there too. I want to mention that one of the things that kind of kept me from getting an Adam over all these years is I'd occasionally run into them, but they were incomplete. Like it would be just the computer missing the keyboard and the controllers and the printer, obviously. They always seem to have been missing parts, especially the printers. A lot of people would just like toss out the printer thinking, oh, that's, you know, we'll keep the computer, we don't need the printer, forgetting that the printer is the power supply for the computer. So that's sort of one of the reasons why I've never got one of these. But then when Philip messaged me and was like, hey, I got one of these Adams, it's complete. I was like, okay, yeah, that sounds awesome. Now, I don't know for sure what's in the second box, but I don't think this has anything to do with the Coleco Adam. I think what came in the Adam box was everything there is for the Adam. So I think what I'm going to do with the second box, I'm going to unpack everything. That way I'm not going in there. There's a lot of packing material in there. There's a lot of stuff in the box, and then we'll quickly go through it because I think I've already been recording for an hour and 20 minutes. It's going to be a long video here. All right, so there was a cornucopia of things inside of there. First thing, an Atari 130XE. And I have to say, much like the Coleco Adam, where people ask me about why haven't I made videos on the Coleco Adam, I always get asked about Atari 8-bit content as well. And the Atari 130XE, I guess this was the end of the line for the 8-bit line of computers from Atari. It very much looks like a Atari ST, the styling of the case, but this is a 128K version of the 8-bit computer. Yes, it's using bank switching, of course. Designed to compete with the likes of the Apple II, the 2C that is, and the 2E with 128K. Really cool looking machine though, I gotta say. Atari made some really nice looking 8-bit computers. Obviously the 800 is just one of the coolest looking 8-bit computers. It's just distinctive. The 800 XL, it's okay. 600, 800, and the 1200s, they're fine. But then this is really cool. They really modernized the case. And I don't have a single 130XE. I don't have any. It looks like it's using an external power supply, but if it's like the 800 XL, it's just 5 volts, even though it's a DIN connector. And there's a bag here, which I think that's the power supply for the machine. I suppose this is one of the issues with these types of computers, these Atari 8-bit machines and the Atari STs, is the keys yellow in weird ways. And it's kind of unfortunate, and that has happened here as well. And I have a feeling, well, I know this from personal experience, retrobrating, I think it was my 1040 STE, the keys didn't take well to retrobrating. Also, the case feels a little flimsy, but I suppose that's just par for the course. Also, kind of mushy feeling, also par for the course. But nonetheless, it's neat to have a 130XE. Really, really cool. And apparently, this uses keyboard membranes, and they often go bad. So Philip has gone ahead and sent along an extra keyboard membrane as well, which, well, those look like power switches. Oh yeah, no, these aren't power switches. These are reset switches for the Tandy TRS-80 Model 2. And people might remember from the video series I did on that TRS-80 Model 2, the one that had like plant debris inside, that the reset switch had been knocked off and damaged. And if I recall correctly, the reset switch on that machine, when you put it to reset, it's supposed to spring back and it doesn't. So Philip said that he had extra switches, and I was like, okay, sure, send one along. I've actually given that particular computer to a friend of mine, local here though, and I can give him one of these switches to replace on the Model 2. And the reason why I gave that machine away to him is that someone else gave me a Model 2 that's mint. Unlike the one with the plant debris inside, like I showed, the one that I was given, it looks like it was never ever used ever. In fact, it was still in its original packaging. The person who gave it to me though drove across the country, and they asked if they could take it out of the box because it took up all the space in the back of the car. I said, no problem, I don't really need the packing material. That machine is covered, it's at my storage unit because it's huge, but it's in a nice climate controlled place. And yeah, still mint. I do need to do a repair on it though, because it works, but the keyboard is foam and foil and it needs to be refoamed. I gave the working keyboard I refoamed to my friend who has the machine that needs their new reset switch, but yep, a lifetime supply of that weird custom reset switch. Anyhow, in this box is the keyboard membrane, which is modern for the 130XE, so I'll obviously have to fix that, but that is so freaking awesome, Philip. I mean, really, yeah, your generosity here is absolutely staggering. But we're not done with that box, the big box I undid. This looks like we have one of the most boring things that was sent by Philip. It's a Commodore 16 keyboard. I wonder if Philip got this. There's a letter we haven't looked at yet in the second box, but I wonder if this came from the 8-bit guy. I think David Murray had a whole bunch of these and was selling them as like new old stock. It looks new, although it is yellowed along the top edge. Oh, and that key's very unhappy. Oh, it's missing its spring. How odd is that? Well, luckily I have a crap ton of replacement springs, so no problem there. But yeah, replacement keyboard. Now it sucks in a way. Even though the keycaps are compatible with the 64, you can swap them over and they're kind of a nice gray color. Obviously, it's not the same. Like, things are different. Like, the arrow keys are up there. So most of the keys can be moved over. I think the PETSCII symbols are all the same. Maybe the colors, but obviously things are moved around in this area. But if you want to have a bunch of nice gray keys on your 64, minus the arrow keys and some of the stuff up here, then you can do so by harvesting them off this Commodore 16 keyboard. Okay, here's the last item that Philip sent, and it's an Atari 520 ST in original box. Awesome, and it looks like the later version that has the built-in floppy drive. The earliest 520 ST, which I happen to have, someone gave me one of those as well, does not have an internal floppy drive, so it comes with an external drive, but this one has got the internal one. I don't know the provenance of this computer, but it has a sticker for Atari Corporation in Sunnyvale. Don't know what that's all about. Was this belong to them? I don't know. It looks like this has been taped shut. Just carefully cut this tape here. There we go. And inside the box, it's an Atari 520 ST. I think Philip told me that this is the version that has the space for 1 megabyte of RAM on the motherboard. It just doesn't have the DRAM chips physically installed. It's pretty awesome. Philip obviously bought a bunch of these large Ziploc bags. You know, I gotta do the same. They probably came from AliExpress or something, which ordering from there is kind of impossible right now. These are awesome because they're big. I think like you could put keyboards, full-size keyboards in these bags, and it's excellent for storage. I don't like to store the keyboards stacked on top of each other. And obviously if they're standing up, you know, I don't know, having the plastic just means the keys won't get bashed as easily and things like that. Anyhow, there it is, there's the ST. I forgot how heavy these are. Look at the crazy yellowing. What's the deal with this? Can anyone explain who knows Ataris why the keys do this? My 1040 STE was uniformly yellowed. It was really bad. But this is just weird. They're all yellowed because I know the way this machine is supposed to look. It's kind of supposed to be a nice gray color, the case and the keyboard. But why are some of these keys so bad? Was this an amalgamation of multiple keys? Like, did someone put this keyboard together from different keyboards, or was this just the way they were manufactured? Maybe these were made at different times and they had big bins of like every letter. I just don't get it. Anyways, 520 ST FM. So it has the FM modulator built in, or RF modulator. So that's the output right there. And yeah, you can see the built-in power supply. So it's very much the same case, as far as I'm aware, as my STE, my 1040 STE, which is the enhanced version, has the blitter and stuff. I think the floppy, this part's different on my STE though. The opening looks different. But otherwise, yep, it's an Atari ST. So let's finally take a look at the letter. Hi, Adrian. Here's the Atari ST and the 1040 ST or XE. They are both functional computers. Okay, well, I just know repairs. I'll have to do a test at some point in the future. The ST is capable 1 meg. I installed socket years ago, but never added the bypass caps or the memory. Hopefully you can finish it or use the keyboard for another project. The 130 XE didn't work when I got it. I replaced the memory and fixed it. Oh, that's nice. So just bad RAM. The keyboard has a problem, so I include the new membrane so you can fix that. I also include a Commodore 64 keyboard I was given. Well, Philip's not a Commodore person, obviously, since that's a C16 keyboard. The Tandy switches, if you don't need them, pass them on, dispose of them as you see fit. Thanks for all you do for the retro community. P.S. I couldn't find the other floppy drive or start disk for the ST machine. I'll send them your way when I find them. All right, there we have it. My voice is starting to get tired here. I've been talking so much, but yeah, Coleco Adam, a 130 XE that does work. It just needs that keyboard fix, and a functional 520 ST FM. Oh, one thing about the ST FM. Let's just zoom in on the badge here. It's got the plastic on it. So I'll use this plastic tool. Hopefully we can get under there. Get this off, yes, without scratching the badge underneath. Oh yeah. Brand new badge. Looks so nice. A little bit was left behind. There it is. That's shiny, real shiny. So yes, this was quite the maxi mail call, wasn't it? Both in physical size, like I can't even walk away from my desk right now. There's stuff that way and stuff that way. So I'll have to do cleanup off camera. And now I got to think of a way to create a thumbnail for this haul of stuff, something that will work. Maybe I'll show the boxes. Anyhow, thanks again, Phil, for sending all this stuff in. It's just absolutely amazing, amazing. And your packing you did was phenomenal. The Atom is in perfect shape. Like, there's no evidence this thing was shipped, and your packing, which must take you forever to do to get those boxes and make that huge box and all the material, I really, really appreciate it. And like I said, for all the people who wonder, all this green bubble wrap that's floating around, I reuse that stuff. I give a lot of it away because like I have friends who they sell stuff and whatnot. So they ask if I have extra, and I have plenty to give that way, but I keep a stash for myself too, because when I also have computers stored, I don't like to put one computer directly on top of another, so I will put layers of that bubble wrap as well between computers and keyboards and stuff like that. Like I said, I don't like stuff sitting on top of each other. But anyhow, yeah, thanks again, Philip. This is absolutely stunning. And everyone who's been asking about this stuff for a while, there will be Coleco Adam content on the channel, but I think you've probably noticed I've had a lot of mail call episodes lately. I have a serious backlog of stuff to get to. So I can't promise when I'm going to get to the Coleco Adam, but just know that I have one. So what I do need to get is I need to get myself a FujiNet so that when I get that thing working, I can start to play some games and software, since all I have is Buck Rogers and BASIC. But other than that, there will be some more Atari content. I still have some more other 8-bit machines that definitely need some repair. I have a bunch. I have so many computers I still have that I need to repair, and it's just, yeah, I got to slowly work through them. And I know there's conflicting demands from everyone. It's like, I want this, I want that, when it comes to what you want to see. I'm not saying people are making demands, but people are like, I'd love to see you work on XYZ. Well, the way it works down here, I think I've explained this before, is I have a few shelves over there, like rolling shelves. I have lots of stuff that's all ready to go for repairs. And I want to kind of work through the things that are over there first. And there's stuff like a Dragon 32 that I've had forever. And like, the Laser 200, that machine I had forever, that Tommy from Arctic Retro sent in. And it's been years since I've had that thing. So that's how long the backlog is. And there's the East German computer and the Russian computer I just got. So like I said, right now, I think I'm going to be probably packing the Coleco Adam back into its original box, and the double box with that nice cardboard one as well. And I can stash it at my storage unit in the meantime, because it's huge and I don't have a ton of space down here in the basement right now. And but I'll definitely get to it. Don't worry, it will not be forgotten. It's just, yeah, I got to make a mail call episode to kind of show that I got it and get everyone excited about it, but not quite ready to work on it. And I guess that's another question that people may have. I have this big backlog of mail call items. I mean, it's big. There's still a whole bunch of big boxes over there to open. Should I just make quick mail call videos, or one video where I'm like, say with this stuff that we have, it's like, oh, look, I opened a Coleco Adam, and we look at the inside the box. It looks complete, sweet. And that's it? Just move on to the next thing? Or would people rather see me kind of look through and absorb what I've got? I like the whole process of absorbing it, and I would do this anyways. I just happen to record it. But I suppose if people don't want to see this and they'd rather just kind of see me open everything, then I'll do that. Obviously, these are second channel videos. I wouldn't put this on the main channel anyways. And eventually when I work on the Adam, for instance, I will put that on the main channel. So people who didn't watch this video, it doesn't really matter, right? They'll see the Adam video. But anyways, it's a good question to have for people. I know there's a good amount of people who are just like, oh, just open everything you have like in one video. Like LGR does these mail call videos where it's just like an hour and a half, but it's everything really quick, you know, one thing after another, rapid fire. It's not really my style. I've done a lot of these videos, obviously, and I never do it that way. But if people think that's what I should do just to kind of clear the backlog, then I guess I should just do that. I'll take the pressure off a little bit, and it'll allow me to make other random second channel content like the video I did before this, which is me working on those motherboards. I have lots of work like that to do, even just testing these machines. Like testing this ST and the 130XE and stuff like that. That could be stuff I could do on the second channel as separate videos. And if I just rapid fire it. So I don't know, just let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this. And I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. My voice is a bit tired. I should be drinking. I have something to drink here and I haven't been drinking it. But anyhow, thanks to everyone who sent stuff in. And again, thanks to Philip. Huge thanks for going through all the effort to send this to me. I hugely appreciate it. And thanks to everyone else who sent stuff in, including all the people who've sent stuff in that they haven't seen yet because it's been sitting over there for years. Because there's stuff that's like years behind on mail call. So anyways, and yeah, that's going to be that. So subscribe. Thanks to my supporters, all the usual stuff. Stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you next time. Bye.